2012 will see the release of an amazing film known as Frankenweenie, which is directed by the legendary Tim Burton. The film opens up with the Frankenstein family who are viewing a home film starring Sparky, their beloved dog, who is voiced by Frank Welker. The family consists of Mrs. Frankenstein, who is voiced by Catherine O'Hara, Mr. Frankenstein, who is voiced by Martin Short, and Victor Frankenstein, who is voiced by Charlie Tahan. Quickly, we the audience can tell just how connected Victor and Sparky are, as they are seen doing everything together. The next day, we are also introduced to New Holland, the town in which the Frankensteins live. Their temporary neighbor is Mr. Burgemeister, who is also voiced by Martin Short. He quickly shows a dislike to Sparky, which will play a role later on in the film. In this scene, we are also introduced to Elsa Van Helsing, who is voiced by Winona Ryder. She is being looked after by Mr. Burgemeister while her family is away. At New Holland Elementary, multiple key figures are also introduced to the audience, starting with Mr. Rzykruski, the new science teacher who is voiced by Martin Landau. Next is Edgar Gore, a student who is voiced by Atticus Shaffer. Bob, who is seen on the left, is voiced by Robert Capron. And Toshiaki, who is on the right, who is voiced by James Hiroyuki Liao. Next up is Weird Girl, who is also voiced by Catherine O'Hara. And finally is Nassor, who is a student that is voiced by Martin Short. Next, we find Sparky playing in the backyard with his baseball. He soon will toss it into the neighbor's yard, where we find another dog, Persephone Van Helsing, who is voiced by D. Bradley Baker. They both have a very close relationship, which will be shown later on in the film. Back at school, Mr. Rzykruski is handing out permission slips for the science fair to the students, and it is at this point we will be given a dark omen by Weird Girl's cat, Mr. Whiskers, who is voiced by D. Bradley Baker. It is revealed that when Mr. Whiskers has a dream about somebody, then something significant is about to happen to that person. Unfortunately, this critical event will occur during a baseball game. Victor is up at bat and he will hit a baseball into the street. Sparky chases the ball and is ultimately hit by a car, killing Sparky. This passing will create a significant depression within Victor, which will influence the second half of the film. One day in class, Mr. Rzykruski is demonstrating an experiment involving electricity, and Victor gets an idea. So he retrieves Sparky from the pet cemetery, and during a stormy night, he will hoist Sparky above the roof and waits for lightning to strike. After a few moments, Sparky's tail begins to wag, and the experiment is a success. A very cute scene that takes place shortly after Sparky is brought back is when he is in the backyard and sees Persephone Van Helsing. She will come into contact with one of Sparky's neck bolts and give her a little shock, leaving behind white stripes in her fur. Over several days, the science students of New Holland Elementary would perform questionable experiments in the hopes to get first place at the science fair. Bob, for example, unfortunately will get hurt during one of these experiments, causing a panic among the parents of the students. And after a PTA meeting, the school will be forced to fire the science teacher. He will be replaced by the gym teacher, who is also voiced by Catherine O'Hara. This change will not completely stop the students from further pushing forward in the hopes of getting first place at the science fair. Unfortunately, it will not take long before other individuals begin to notice that Sparky is back from the dead, notably Edgar R. Gore, who will tell Victor that he fully knows about Sparky. This will lead to Toshiaki, Bob, the Weird Girl, and Nassor to try to copy Victor's experiment. In the name of science, each one will go to the pet cemetery or find elsewhere and pick out animals to try to bring back. Nassor will gather Colossus, Toshiaki will get Shelly, Edgar E. Gore will find a dead rat from the garbage, Bob's choice will be sea monkeys for his experiments, and the Weird Girl will utilize a dead bat. During a stormy night, everyone will spring into action, but the results are not what you might expect. The lightning will change Mr. Whiskers into a bat-cat hybrid, the dead rat will mutate, Colossus will crawl out of its grave, Shelly will grow into a giant, and the sea monkeys will turn into gremlins. The town of New Holland will erupt into chaos and all the residents will hide in fear from the monsters. Victor will be called upon to help resolve the problem, and in the end, Shelly will squish Colossus with one step. Salty popcorn will be the solution to getting rid of the sea monkey gremlins. Sparky will step in and give the mutated rat a good shock, turning it back into a normal dead rat. Shelly will require a much more significant source of electricity to bring it back into a normal sized turtle. The bat cat Mr. Whiskers will take a wooden spike through the back to bring it down. Throughout all the chaos, Sparky will again be killed and be brought to Victor. The town people will come together and help bring back Sparky with the use of several car batteries. The film will end with Sparky giving a little nose kiss to Persephone Van Helsing. Thank you all for watching another episode. I wish every one of you the very best. Much love.